Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into the world of Julius Caesar today,
Huh.
but not the salad guy,
Right.
the military mastermind.
The real deal.
It's 58 BC. Caesar's finishing up his conquests in Gaul.
Hmm.
But just across the water is this mysterious land,
Oh, yeah.
Britannia.
Shrouded in mystery.
So why risk it all? Why venture into the unknown? That's what we're going to uncover.
Yeah, it's easy to think of Roman expansion as just unstoppable, right?
Right.
But each conquest had its own motivations and challenges.
Oh, absolutely.
And Britannia, well, it held a special allure for the Romans.
It did.
It wasn't just about resources. It was about legend.
Yeah.
About testing the limits of their world.
Right. Imagine being a Roman soldier and hearing these tales of
Oh, yeah.
this land filled with strange tribes,
Right.
untold riches.
Absolutely.
I mean, was it genuine belief in these legends or something more strategic?
Well, Caesar claimed the Britons had supported his enemies in Gaul
Okay.
and used that as justification for invasion.
Okay.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
A dash of glory and personal ambition probably played a role too.
Right, of course.
But what's fascinating is how he balanced those motivations with very real logistical challenges.
Yeah. The logistics of this invasion are just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I mean, just building a fleet from scratch, 80 ships,
Wow.
and transporting 2 legions, thousands of heavily armed soldiers
Yeah.
across the notoriously rough English Channel. Recipe for seasickness.
Definitely not a pleasure cruise.
Not at all.
And remember, the Romans weren't exactly known for their seafaring skills at this point.
Right.
This was a huge risk for Caesar.
Yeah.
It shows just how determined he was to make his mark on Britannia.
Okay, so they finally land on British shores, 55 BC.
They do.
But it wasn't exactly the triumphant arrival Caesar might have envisioned.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The Britons were ready.
Yeah.
They were waiting,
Oh, yeah.
launching attacks from the cliffs
Oh, wow.
as the Romans struggled to even disembark.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, can you picture those heavily armored soldiers trying to wade ashore, fighting for their footing while under constant attack?
Brutal.
It's a testament to their discipline that they managed to gain any ground at all.
Yeah, and Caesar's famous adaptability was put to the test immediately.
Oh, yeah.
He had to change his landing site on the fly
Yeah.
because of that fierce resistance.
Right.
I mean, this wasn't just about following a plan. This was reacting
Yeah.
to a chaotic situation, making split-second decisions.
Absolutely. And that initial landing site at Dover,
Yeah,
with those steep cliffs and limited beachhead,
right.
it proved too difficult.
Yeah.
Caesar shifted his forces north to a more open beach,
Okay.
likely somewhere near Deal,
Okay.
where the legions could deploy more effectively.
Okay, so he secures a beachhead.
He does.
And then Mother Nature throws a wrench in the works.
Oh, boy.
A massive storm destroys a significant chunk of his fleet.
Oh, no.
Talk about bad luck.
Yeah.
Suddenly, this mighty Roman army is stranded,
Yeah.
low on supplies, and facing a counterattack.
That's a tough spot.
What do?
Well, and here's where we see the Britain's own strategic abilities coming into play.
Okay.
Initially divided the various tribes.
Yeah.
They recognize the common threat.
Right.
They form a coalition
Wow.
led by a chieftain named Cassivellaunus.
Okay.
They realized that by uniting, they had a chance to drive the Romans back into the sea.
Smart.
Very smart.
So what happens?
Well, Caesar had to rely on classic Roman tactics.
Right.
Discipline, formation,
A
fighting
Roman way.
to hold them off.
Yeah.
There's this final desperate battle
Oh, wow.
where the Romans managed to push the Britons back.
Okay.
But it's a Pyrrhic victory at best.
Right.
Winter's coming.
Yeah.
Their supply lines are shattered. They're
Yeah.
far from home.
So what did Caesar do?
He made the tough call to withdraw.
Okay.
While it may have looked like a defeat on the surface,
Yeah.
Caesar was a master of spinning narratives.
Of course.
Back in Rome, he presented it as a success,
Okay.
highlighting the bravery of his troops
Right.
and downplaying the setbacks.
So round 1 goes to the Britons.
You could say that.
But we know this isn't the end of the story.
It's not.
Caesar is nothing if not persistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet he's already plotting his return.
I bet he is.
What lessons do you think he learned from this first attempt?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that Caesar undoubtedly grappled with as he sailed back to Gaul.
Right.
He had underestimated the Britons' fighting spirit
Mm-hmm.
and the challenging terrain.
For sure.
Next time, he'd need more than just brute force.
Okay.
He'd need a deeper understanding of his enemy,
Right.
better logistics, and perhaps a new approach altogether.
Right.
Who knows?
A very different Caesar round 2.
Yeah.
So Caesar licks his wounds, heads back to Gaul, spends the winter planning his next move. He's not a guy who gives up easily.
No, he's not.
I imagine that defeat just fueled his determination even more.
I think so.
To conquer Britannia.
Yeah.
So what did round 2 of this Roman-Britain clash look like?
It was a completely different game.
How so?
Caesar returned in 54 BC
Okay.
with a much larger force,
Okay.
5 legions,
5.
roughly 25,000 well-trained soldiers, plus 2,000 cavalry.
Wow.
And this time the fleet was massive, over 800 ships.
800.
Designed specifically for the conditions of the English Channel.
Wow. He was clearly taking no chances.
No, he wasn't.
So it seems like he took those lessons from that first invasion to heart.
Definitely.
What else was different about his strategy this time around?
Well, speed and decisiveness.
Okay.
Instead of getting bogged down on the coasts,
Yeah.
Caesar pushed inland quickly,
Interesting.
aiming to engage the Britons before they could fully unite.
Okay.
He also demonstrated a more nuanced understanding of British tribal politics.
Okay, so it's not just about brute force anymore. It's
Yeah.
about using intelligence and diplomacy
Yeah.
alongside military might.
Exactly. Caesar employed a classic divide-and-conquer strategy.
Okay, how so?
He exploited existing rivalries between the tribes,
Oh.
offering alliances to some while targeting others.
Oh, interesting.
For example, he forged a pact with the Trinovantes tribe,
Okay.
a powerful group in southeastern Britain
Okay.
who saw an advantage in aligning themselves with Rome against their rivals.
Wow.
This not only secured him valuable local allies,
Uh-huh.
but also sowed discord among the Britons,
Wow.
making it harder for them to mount a united resistance.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It shows a real evolution in Caesar's approach.
It does.
He's not just a conqueror.
Right.
He's a strategist playing the long game,
Right.
but he still had to face the Britons in battle, right?
Oh, he did.
How did those confrontations play out?
There were several key battles, but one that stands out
Okay.
is the assault on Cassivellaunus' stronghold,
Okay.
thought to be somewhere north of the Thames River.
Oh, wow.
Caesar describes building a bridge across the Thames,
Oh, wow.
under constant harassment from the Britons,
Oh, my gosh.
showcasing his engineering skills as much as his military prowess.
So even with this more nuanced strategy,
Yeah.
there were still moments of classic Roman military ingenuity
Oh, yeah.
and engineering at play.
For sure.
How did this second invasion ultimately conclude? Did Caesar achieve his goal of conquering Britannia? So
Well-
Caesar's engineering skills are on full display.
Yeah.
He's maneuvering through enemy territory, forging alliances,
Right.
engaging in some pretty epic battles. But did he ultimately achieve his objective?
Well,
Did he conquer Britannia?
not in the traditional sense.
Okay.
While Caesar inflicted significant defeats on the Britons, forcing Cassivellaunus to surrender and pay tribute,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't establish permanent Roman rule at this time.
Right.
He returned to Gaul,
Okay.
leaving behind a network of alliances
Yeah.
and a lingering sense of Roman power.
It's almost like a statement, we
Yeah.
were here, we
But
can
the-
come back anytime.
Exactly.
So it wasn't a full-blown conquest,
Right.
but it definitely laid the groundwork.
For future Roman influence in Britannia.
It did.
I mean, we see a century later,
Mm-hmm.
the Romans return
They do.
and establish a lasting presence.
Yeah.
How much of that success can be attributed to Caesar's earlier campaigns?
That's a question historians still debate.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
What are they saying?
Well, did Caesar plant the seeds for Romanization? Or did his invasions simply make the Britons even more resistant to Roman rule in the long run?
Oh, wow.
It's like that old saying,
What's that?
sometimes you win by not actually winning.
That's a fascinating point.
Yeah,
It challenges the whole notion of what it means to conquer a place.
it does.
Sometimes leaving a lasting impact goes beyond military occupation.
Absolutely. Caesar's expeditions,
Yeah.
while not resulting in immediate conquest,
Right.
introduced Roman culture, technology ideas
Yeah.
into British society.
Okay.
These seeds of Roman influence would continue to grow over the next century.
Paving the way for a more lasting Roman presence.
Okay, we've talked a lot about
Yeah.
strategy and battles,
Mm-hmm.
but these invasions also raise some important ethical questions.
They do.
There's that incident during the retreat from the first invasion, where Caesar's forces pursued fleeing Britons,
Yeah.
and it ended up killing a significant number of civilians.
Right.
It reminds us that even the most celebrated military campaigns have their dark side.
It's a sobering reminder
Hmm.
that history is not just a story of triumphs and conquests.
Right.
It's also a story of human suffering and moral complexities.
Yeah.
We can admire Caesar's strategic brilliance
Right.
while also acknowledging the cost of his ambition.
And that duality is part of what makes him such a fascinating figure, right?
Basically?
This brilliant general,
Hmm.
this shrewd politician,
Yeah,
but also capable of ruthlessness.
it's true.
Makes you wonder what drove him.
Yeah.
Was it a genuine desire to improve the lives of those he conquered? Or simply an insatiable hunger for power?
That's the beauty of history.
What is that?
It's not about finding easy answers.
Right.
It's about grappling with these complexities and ambiguities.
Absolutely.
Caesar's legacy continues to challenge us to think critically about leadership power and the lasting impact of individual actions.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on Caesar's Britannic adventures,
Yeah.
what are some of the key takeaways you hope our listeners walk away with?
Well, I think these expeditions remind us that history is full of surprises.
It is.
It's not a straight line from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It's about adaptability, ingenuity,
Right.
and understanding the human element in any conflict.
And sometimes it's about questioning our assumptions about victory and defeat.
Absolutely.
Caesar may not have conquered Britannia outright,
Right.
but he left an undeniable mark on its history.
He did.
One that continues to resonate centuries later.
That's right.
Well, that's it for our deep dive today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us,
Of course.
and we'll see you next time.